Now that we're nearing the release of Star Wars Jedi Survivor and we've gotten almost all of the marketing we'll get for the game, I thought it would be fun to answer your questions about the game that you have, at least the ones that I can. So let's talk about it. I gathered questions from people on Instagram and here on YouTube, a lot of which I also don't know the answer to, like, will we get to play as Merrin? How many planets will there be? Can you fast travel from meditation points on different planets? And the highly asked, will there be ponchos in the game? But there were luckily also quite a few questions I got that I do know at least a general answer to, or I have some theories for. Alright, into the first question, how much customization can you do from the beginning? In the demo we got to play, we were told we got to start around an hour into the gameplay, and I was already finding a lot of chests with quite a few cosmetics. You already start the game off with base cosmetic changes like beard or no beard, as well as the base outfit has color options for each of the parts that you can mess around with before you get any other cosmetics from chests. In addition to this, if you pre-ordered the game or you have the deluxe version, you should also have those cosmetics at the beginning of the game. You can also change your lightsaber color and shine level at the beginning as well as some color options which you can also find more of early on. This goes for BD1 too, where you can change some of his colors and level of wear right at the beginning, but new cosmetics come very early on. So customization is going to start off strong right at the beginning. The next question I got was, what are the lightsaber customization options? You get a lot of customization from getting to choose each individual piece from left emitter, left switch, left grip, pommel, right grip, and right switch, and right emitter. These components can all be swapped out separately with 19 of each at least that you can find while exploring. You also get to choose the blade color, of which there are 9 options: blue, green, purple, yellow, cyan, magenta, indigo, orange, and the new white. You also get to choose the metal colors, and unlike Fallen Order where you got to choose a color skin of sorts for your saber, here you can choose between a ton of options, and you get to select the main, secondary, and special color for your sabers, as well as getting to choose the level of shine or dull you want your sabers to be. The next question is, will we have the white saber color from the beginning? Yes, 100%. We were in the demo about an hour into the gameplay, and we already had the white saber, so I assume it's just one of the options you'll get to choose from the very beginning. So I got this one a few times. Will there be references to Jedi battle scars in the game? For sure we have at least one reference back to the book, which is Grease's mechanical arm, but other than that, and I'll preface this with it's my own opinion, I assume we won't get much of a callback to the main storyline of the book at all. We might get some with Cere in her library, but I feel like the main plot won't be mentioned directly, or it might be a random voice line you might get. In the demo we got to do, there was no references to Jedi battle scars other than Grease's arm. On to the next question, how does the blaster style feel? So we didn't get to actually play the blaster style, we just got to watch a short but very cool video of it being used at the event. It looks really freaking cool. From what we saw, I assume it won't require you to aim the blaster, but it's more of a lock-on system that whomever you're locking onto will get hit, as well as using your saber to still block and do some hits and maneuvers. You also get a cool new power that allows you to lock on to all of the enemies in an area that looks kind of like High Noon from Overwatch, and then shoot them all simultaneously. It looks really fun, and I can't wait to try it out. I'm sure other creators have done more in-depth videos about it. Our next question is, will Cere be an important part of the story? This is also just a theory I have, but I'm assuming she will be a minor character in this game versus the last game. The only shots we've seen of her from the trailers are in the same spots and areas, which seem to be in the same library planet area. I assume she won't be coming with us on the Mantis like Grease, Merrin, and Bode will be, and will be mostly stationary. But that doesn't mean we won't be able to visit her, she just probably will not be a large part of the main story. But like I said, that's just my theory. On to the next question. Will companion assistance in combat feel distinct with each companion? I believe so, but this is just another educated guess since I've not actually played any companion combat. From what we've seen in the trailers, they seem very different. Bode is a lot more blaster based, and he utilizes his jetpack to get to different vantage points that might help him shoot enemies that are behind cover. While Merrin's combat is with her new spear that she has, and she also has magic and the Force, which I'm sure will play into the way that her combat rolls. Both of these styles feel and seem very different, so I'm sure the combat will feel a little different between fighting with each. And I also wouldn't be surprised if we got new companion characters we've just not heard about yet, and those will probably be different as well. So the next question is, how big was Koboh like compared to the maps from Jedi Fallen Order? Koboh was a very large map. For reference, I can get through from the beginning of the game to the end of the first half of Zepho in about 3 hours in Jedi Fallen Order, which I only got through the first part of Koboh in 3 to 4 hours, and I missed a lot of the available side content. Well, I think if you pushed through just the main story, you could get through the first part of Koboh in only 2 or so hours. With all of the side content, which I personally know it includes at least 3 Jedi puzzle chambers and at least 1 side mission, which is the Rancor, but probably includes more as well, and it also has all the Force Fractures, which are timed missions, plus all of the chest finding and essence locating. The map is quite big. I compare it to Zepho as far as just scope of movable area, but I don't even know if Zepho is that big. Plus, all of the additional content in addition to the scope of the map will also add on time. Plus, there were tons of areas we couldn't even traverse yet while on the planet, and so that will make it even bigger, I'm sure. So the next question is, how is the map UI compared to Fallen Order? They've added a few new upgrades to the UI of the map that make it a little bit easier to read and understand where you're going. One of these is the new custom markers that you can use that allow you to mark things on the map that aren't necessarily a mission. I think these will be the most helpful with marking all of the new side content that we're getting. The next thing they've added that I personally found very useful is a line that trails off and shows you where you've already been, or where you came from, so you don't just keep running in circles. Other than that, the map looks very similar to the original map from Fallen Order, and so if you're familiar with how that looks, it will be easy for you to read the one in this game. In addition to that, they've split up the map into separate chunks instead of it being one big map for the whole planet, so that also makes it a lot easier to read. The next question is, what issues or bugs did you run into? I personally didn't run into any bugs in my run, other than maybe some very slight visual clipping in some of the cutscenes. I do know that Star Wars Explained had some issues with BD1 appearing slightly off while ziplining, but other than that, I didn't have any problems. The game ran super smooth for me, at least. So the next question is, are there cutscenes and how much dialogue is there? There are a lot of cutscenes, but because they've wanted to avoid spoiling the story for everyone, they've done a very good job of not showing very many cutscenes in the trailers and clips they've shown for marketing. There's a lot of dialogue and cutscenes just like the last game. The story in this game is very important to the game devs, and from what I know, it's going to be amazing. So if you're a big story person, I do not think you will be disappointed. So what are the side missions like? Did they give you choice or depth of character? I only did one side mission in my demo because I wanted to get through the story portions they were letting us play. The one side mission I did pertained to finding the Rancor, and so it's pretty straightforward, where you just had to go into the mine where people were disappearing, and oh, there was a Rancor that had eaten them all. To get side missions, you just have to talk to NPCs around the map, and they'll tell you something, and it will ping it as what's called a rumor that you can go and explore. You can select them in your menu and then go where they're marked on the map. As far as depth of character, it's the same as the other game where you're not really given options, you just kind of are playing through the story that's already being presented for you. So it's not like The Witcher or Horizon Zero Dawn where you get to choose a nice or a mean option, it just is. So next question is, after the demo, did you stay on Koboh or did you go to the next planet? How long is the main story? The final cutscene we got in the demo told us we were headed to a different planet, but we didn't actually get to go there. So I'd assume we got to play the first part of Koboh, but there's a lot more roaming to do, so if you didn't want to go to the next area immediately, you could just stay there. As for how long the main story is, I obviously don't know, but I tried to focus mainly on the story portions in my 3 to 4 hour demo playthrough, and I think we only brushed the surface of what the story has to offer. Think of like visiting Bogano for the first time. That's probably the amount of story we got to, and we started about an hour into gameplay, I assume skipping the tutorial portion of the game. So I would not be surprised if this game is 30 plus hours for an average gamer, with hitting the basics of the side missions and puzzle rooms and such, as well as doing the main storyline. So what was your favorite part of the demo? My favorite part of the demo is probably the new creatures and people I got to meet. Koboh is so full of new NPCs, which are all very interesting and fun to interact with. So many of the NPCs you get to meet or talk to have a ton of depth, or things you'd like to learn more about right off the bat, and so I'm really excited to learn more about all of them. I also loved all the cool new creatures and enemies, or friendly, and I especially loved getting to pet all the boglings as I adventured. I thought it would just be the one bogling, but there are so many boglings that you can pet. A big thank you to everyone who asked questions. I couldn't get to all of them, and a lot of them I'm asking alongside all of you, and I can't wait to learn answers to them in less than 2 weeks. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. If you'd like to stay up to date with me and any Jedi Survivor news, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below. And as always, thank you for watching. May the Force be with you. Goodbye!